So I'm at Peloton Cycles in Fort Collins, Colorado. I'm working with Erik here to do a fit. Got the Specialized Turbo Levo Expert, and I got my shoes on already. I'm going clipless. We're doing that in a separate video. Let's just jump right into it, Erik.
Okay. So the first thing we always check when we're going into doing a quick sizing, because we're getting them set up to go ride the bike for the first time.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring them back in later and do the full fit process, which is the full flexibility analysis, also like that. But we want to get you in a position where you can ride the bike and enjoy it, so you can get used to it, so we can see if any problems have arisen because of that.
Okay.
So the first thing we do is we get them on, we put the cleats on the shoes, we got them in the shoes, they're all proper fit and size.
And the cleats, that's this like metal thing down here. Cool.
And then we're going to check the placement on the shoes first.
Cool.
So where the shoe clips in, how the position is on your foot. The next thing to check is overall leg length. So it's going to be the knee bend. We're looking for between a 20 degree to 35 degree angle for optimized muscles and comfort and efficiency and all stuff like that.
Cool.
And then we'll go to 30 to begin with. The next thing we do is do a knee over spindle measurement to make sure we get the saddle position first. So the reason we do all this stuff first is it's all based off of bone structure, foot length, knee position, things that we don't want to change the size or shape of. It's probably painful if you do.
Yeah.
So we'll start with that first.
Okay, let's do it.
Hop on the bike.
Hop on it. Should I try to click in?
Yes. These are new. There we go.
Is it in?
Yep.
Hey, there we go. Okay.
And that's the hardest part, is just getting used to where the front of the cleat is.
I think I got it.
You are in, yes.
Sweet. Yeah, and that's cool because there's still some movement in my feet. Like if I'm looking down from above, it's not like they're completely locked in.
And that's why we did these pedals.
Okay, yeah.
These are going to be a lot more. So these pedals that we put them on are the new Speedplay Syzr pedals. And what they are is they're a adjustable float pedal. And it's the first mountain bike pedal that has this much float in it that's not based on spring tension. So it's a free flowing pedal.
Okay.
And so to diagnose around knee problems and making it so you can clip in and out properly.
Yeah, and that's my
Syzr
thing.
pedals.
Yeah, thank you so much for that.
No problem. So when we're looking, we're going to come over to the front position. And we're checking for cleat positioning. So we're going off the first and fifth metatarsal head right here.
Okay.
And we want to make sure that we're getting intersected with kind of the middle here. I went to a little bit further aft position to start with for you, but we do want to adjust that, so I'm going to have to hop off.
And to get them off, do I just twist and...
Yep, twist towards me.
Yeah,
Done.
there's off. Okay. Sweet. And I like these shoes because they just feel pretty normal. Like the bottom's kind of flat, there's not a huge nub. So you were saying that these might loosen up over time? A little bit as I...
Yes, a little bit.
Sweet. So it's mostly like I gotta just practice. And when you were saying aft, does that mean towards the rear?
Correct.
Okay. So
So
it's
we're-
like ship terminology.
So we were a little bit too far towards the heel of the foot, so we weren't quite lined up perfectly with that.
I see.
So I'm going to bring them forward about a whole centimeter.
Okay.
And those of you that are familiar with most clipless pedals that are out nowadays, these cleats look completely different than what you're used to seeing.
Yeah.
A lot more of the adjustability is built into the cleat. So here's the screws that adjust how much the float is, and you can see this black notch right here.
Yeah.
That's what allows the whole shoe to rotate more.
I see. Oh, that was cool. That's what I was feeling when I was up there. And this comes up a lot, I think, for people who haven't done the kind of the clip in.
Yep.
It's like, why are they called clipless? And can you tell me the story behind that?
Absolutely. So back when we rode single speeds over the Tour de France with no brakes, and men were men and smoked cigarettes, so their lungs up and drank wine undercover.
Yeah.
They had the baskets that come over our shoe.
Yeah.
The terminology from back then was clip.
Ah.
So the little basket was a clip. So when the clipless pedal came out, it was clip less.
Okay.
So even though most of them are going to have a clicking in motion or a click pedal, they do come out with clipless. It's one of the names that's stuck around forever and kind of is what it is.
Yeah, we got to work with it now. And these are actually bicycle specific shoes that you've got, right?
Correct.
And they're just flat on the bottom, so
Correct.
they're and
so
stiffer.
These are a regular treaded shoe, kind of like how you can see his 2FO. So the same model as shoe. This is just the clip version.
Yeah.
With the fancy boas.
Okay.
Versus the laces.
Both of them stiffer and stuff, but yeah, this is going to give me maybe a little bit more support than if and I'm not going to slip off and scrape my shin and some of that other stuff. Cool. I love that you've got like a torque wrench type of thing or a torque driver, so you don't over tighten this stuff.
Yeah, once the parts and pieces start getting so expensive, you want to make sure you're torqued properly.
Yeah. Okay, so Erik adjusted, kind of brought the clip interface back a little bit. What are the brands that I'm wearing here? Like what are the clips called?
The shoes are the Specialized 2FO shoe,
Yep.
which is for foot out, flat out, so it's a little bit more aggressive riding shoe, but it looks like a skate shoe, so it's easy to walk in.
Yeah.
The pedals are the new Speedplay Syzrs. They're very new to the market, and they're a completely new kind of setup.
Interesting.
So that's why we're messing around with the Cleat a little bit
Speedplay,
more.
that's the brand?
Speedplay is the brand.
Syzrs.
Syzr is the model.
Okay, great. Next step.
So we come around here, we triple check that I did my job right. You can see we got that spindle running right through there.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come down to the bottom here. We are gonna use our goniometer to measure the knee angle. What we do is we go off the greater trochanter, which is the femoral bone cropping up here, lateral femoral condyle, and the lateral malleolus. And that's where we're looking for the 30-degree angle.
This has got to be a little bit interesting given that it has like a seat post dropper. So are we doing with the dropper maxed up?
All the way up.
We're all the way up, so yeah, looks like you already got that. Sweet.
Unless you played with it.
No. Just in a seat post?
Yep. So now we're gonna have you pedal backwards for me and kind of get resettled into the seat post positioning. And so then we're gonna have you stop at the longest point of the pedal stroke again. Right there.
Do some measurements.
As we go there, make sure it's not under tension, make sure we're hitting the 3 points again.
Yep.
And you can see we're sitting at that 30-degree angle in there.
Well, that is sweet. What is this thing called?
It's a goniometer.
Goniometer.
Yeah, it is a tool from the physical therapy, chiropractic side of things.
Sweet, man.
So the next thing we're looking at, so what we've done, kind of just to recap,
Yep.
we started with the foot because the length of the shoe depends on how long your leg's gonna be. Then we go to overall leg length,
Yeah.
because that's the most of the bones and kind of the knee structure. The next thing we do is come up to this 3 o'clock position, and then we're gonna drop a plumb bob from the front of here, and that's to adjust the leverage ratio over the pedals to make sure those muscles are working correctly.
Okay, sweet. We're gonna do that plumb ball thing?
Plumb bob,
Plumb bob.
which is one of those 17th century carpentry tools for building houses and stuff and castles.
Sweet.
Off the front of the knee, and we drop it down, and we want this to be lined up with the front of the crank arm, and it's probably gonna be really hard to see on the camera, but we're pretty far forward.
Yeah.
So stand up for me.
Okay. Okay, so you had me pedaling backwards a little bit like this so that I could, kind of see how that feels. I think we've got the legs right. You did the plumb bob and everything. And I was saying it kind of felt like, I'm a little bit forward. The bars are wide, and that's for mountain biking, right? Where it's like smoother versus like twitchy or something. Is that?
Absolutely. We're running a little bit wider bar.
Okay.
Just to get the leverage out of the front end of the bike.
Okay.
So that we can have more control over the front wheel and better leverage to keep it under control, bouncing off rocks and all that fun
That's
stuff.
right, because there's more like going on, and it's bigger wheels too.
So the bigger wheels, the heavier wheel, things like that. So what we do make is
It's this like, so we were looking at this, it's like a riser bar. I was asking like, I'm not a super aggressive rider, so if we like brought this up, then I'd feel more like I was, on like a town bike or something like that. It's a mountain bike, and I'm gonna do some off-road, but this bar, there's just a slight variation. It brings it up and brings it back a little bit. This was something to consider. But man, it's like $114 just for this because it's super lightweight aluminum. Something to consider. And Erik, you were saying that I should go out and ride it for a while, kind of factory setup, and then there are always options. You come back to the store and do your second tune-up.
and see what causes an issue, so we can get that issue taken care of.
Okay, yeah, because and hey, thank you. Earlier, the stock grips on this were just the flat, sort of, I don't know, is that what you call them, like flat? Round, okay. And now,
Standard.
We've got these like body geometry ergo grips. I like that. And you said you ride these off-road?
Correct.
So it's not like it's bad to have ergo off-road?
Not at all.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like them. And they match. Like, that's nothing wrong with that. Sweet.
It's almost like Specialized planned it.
What were they thinking?
Once you get the leg length and everything like that dialed in, then it goes to the controls.
Uh-huh.
So we're gonna adjust for wrist angle, we're gonna adjust brake lever, we're gonna adjust where the thumb and stuff is.
Okay.
So all the different things like that.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. So the first thing I'm doing is I brought the bar, I rotated around a little bit more, just to get the rise to match what you were feeling in the bike.
Right.
So now the grips are pointed up in space.
Huh.
So
Right.
I want
You
to
don't
bring
want
those
that.
back down to about where the arm angle is going to be.
So it's kind of like a flat
So
surface.
bring your hand here, and you can see we want to have that wrist not have any break in it. So we don't want it to be bent like this.
Is that the same with the brakes? Like you want the whole thing kind of just like straight off?
Yep, so bring your hand out there again for me. How's that feel?
It feels really good. Way better now that it's been
Exactly.
adjusted.
And then we adjust the other one, so set up your hand for me.
Like this one?
Give me 1 second.
And that's the thing about locking grips. Like, if you don't have that, a lot of electric bikes and cheaper bikes, it's just rubber and it kind of flops all around. And yeah, that feels nice.
Next thing we look at is how the actual brake lever is in relationship to your hands.
Yeah.
Because we want that to feel very natural, because it's how you stop.
Yeah.
So any panic situation comes up, if you're reaching weird or have to reach your hand around or rotate too far down, you want to make sure you can do that.
And you do it with just one finger, you're saying a lot of
Yep.
times.
So it's going to be 1 finger or 2 finger setup.
For a hydraulic setup
For
like
a hydraulic
this.
setup, so whatever you're comfortable with.
Okay.
So do you know if you do 1 finger or 2 finger yet?
Yeah, I think I do 2 finger a lot of times.
So a lot of times we'll align them a little bit differently based off the 2 fingers as well.
Otherwise you'd bring them back or something
Correct.
so that it's just the
So
one
put
finger?
both fingers on there. And so what I'm looking for is just relax your hand all the way out.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that when we have these fingers here, they're naturally going to this position.
Okay.
So you can see how I'm physically moving his hand over.
Yeah.
That's going to be something we want to adjust this over a little bit for.
Huh, okay. Kind of bringing that. Wow. It's really precision, man. Excited.
So what we're adjusting now is that once we figure out where the hand placement is on the brake levers, I'm making sure the brake levers are the same distance away from the grip.
Yeah.
So you're pulling the same with each hand.
Because these ones have the reach adjust.
Correct.
Which is really fancy. Is there like a good distance you go for, or is it just personal preference?
100% personal preference.
Oh.
So, and that's
I had it all set up and now you're changing it.
I'm changing it to my personal preference.
We'll start out there. Yeah, they're definitely further now.
Correct.
Is that
So what we're looking for, bring your hand out and just relax.
okay?
So we're grabbing the grip in the normal position again.
Yep.
So where we talked about it earlier, we want the natural position to be there. So you can see how the fingers are now pointed better. I'm not having to move it over, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you go down the fingers to grab it,
Yeah.
you're getting into the pad of your fingers naturally.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking for, to do that. So
Okay.
you want to make sure you're grabbing one of the joints here or here.
Okay.
So what we're doing today is a sizing. So we basically got him set up with the feet fore and aft.
Hello. He wants a fit too. Sweet.
So we're setting up saddle height, fore and aft position, making sure he looks comfortable with the handlebars, talking about bars, talking about stems, kind of basic thing there. So when we're doing the full fitting, or say we're doing the sizing now,
Yeah.
and we notice that the bars are just too far away or too close,
Yeah.
the stem, so this piece that connects the steer tube, so you can actually turn the bike
Yeah.
to the handlebar, is what is designed to be changed to make the bike fit you perfectly.
Okay.
Hence why we have a wall of stems over
Oh man. Yeah, I didn't even know there's a ton of them.
So there's going to be anything from 40 millimeter to 135 millimeter. Now, of course, there's 160s out there and 30s out there, but those are going to be the extremity that we almost never sell, extremes
Okay.
that we never sell. So,
Is this just what came on it?
correct.
And it's really short. So is that it? Why?
So, again, with the mountain bikes having the wider bars and to slow down the handling,
Yeah.
when you go to a longer stem, you start to do more of a turning motion
Oh yeah.
when you're going instead of a turning motion this way.
I see.
And so part of that, us having mountain bikes since the 80s, is we have a lot less data, that's telling us how to make the bikes handle perfectly. So now that we're getting to faster bikes, more aggressive bikes, riding crazier stuff,
Yeah.
we're finding optimal handling from that enduro scene, from the downhill scene,
Huh.
transferring to us everyday Joes that are just riding on the weekends.
Okay. Well, sweet. And it looks like, I mean, this one has sort of the SWAT
Yep.
link and stuff, so that's just a cap that could go on any stem.
Correct. So the SWAT thing right here,
Yeah.
is what's called the top cap. It holds the tension of your headset together before you torque the stem down.
I see.
But what this is it's also a chain tool.
It's rad.
Of course, it's a chain tool. It can open. Because it's never been opened.
Oh, I can see like right through.
Yes.
Some fancy stuff on this. Is this like an S, like Specialized? Is that why they did that? Clever.
I don't know. I'll believe it. We'll say yes.
Sweet.
Okay. So once you get this out, it becomes a chain tool. So you have this piece that comes all the way back here, and your chain goes right in here, and this unscrews all the way out.
Yeah. So the chain would be laid down right in between.
Yep, right through
and then
there.
that pushes the link out.
You push the pin out. This is your little handle. This is not the tool. You use the tool that comes with the bike,
Yeah.
and you push the pin out. And now when you're putting the chain back together, it has your master link magnetically stored inside of here as well.
So cool.
So that has everything you need. And so part of the SWAT system is the storage, water, air, tools. So it's everything you need to go on the bike.
And that's a Specialized thing. Can you add that to any bike?
You
Erik?
can add this to any bike that has an 1 1/8" steer tube.
Wow.
Carbon
okay.
fiber or aluminum or
Sweet.
steel or any of those
Titanium,
other, yes,
dude.
any of the other materials that are out there.
Sweet.
So once your stem is properly torqued here,
Yep.
the headset adjustment doesn't get messed up. So that's why I'm able to just take this piece out and play with it.
Okay. So that's like the pre-alignment type thing, and then you crank it down with those
Correct.
side bolts, and that's to keep the handlebar sort of straight. So you
And-
guys already did that. It looks really straight.
Correct. And with the bearing surfaces inside of the steer head tube,
Yeah.
those need to be in tension properly. So that's one of the 3 adjustments that's been made with just that stem and all this combined pieces together.
Okay. So are we all fit? Like, where are we at?
So we are sized up for the bike now.
Yeah.
So this is where we send him out on the road. He goes and plays with it. I usually like to see about 100 miles of riding in a couple different situations. And so if we can get some dirt in there, if we can get some rocks in there, we kind of want to get a well-rounded feel, and then we'll bring it back in and do the full fit.
And a lot of times I was thinking like, oh, they're hydraulic brakes, so you're not going to get sort of the I guess the cable slack and stuff, but there's still cables in the shifters.
There literally is one shifter cable in here.
Wow.
So the only
Clean.
cable and housing that can stretch and settle and stuff is going to be this one thing.
On this bike. Oh, well, hey, what about, is that this?
It is a cable, but it's not going to, so that could break, but most of the time, since you have the lever that...
It's just on off, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Were you going to drop me? I thought you were going to drop me.
Yeah.
Sweet. Erik, this has been awesome. I feel like I learned a lot. Thanks for helping me clip in those pedals. Again, you know, Peloton, Fort Collins, and any local bike store is going to be able to do some great fits, but, you know, this has been awesome.
Awesome.
I'm going to do like a guide that kind of maps out some of this stuff along with the video back at the site. So if you have any questions, chime in. Maybe you can add something and get really technical. Ride safe.